You are listening to the USDN on the DSPN.
It's a trap!
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the United States Department of Nerds, where we are for the people, by the people, and of the people. What if the biggest problem in indie comics isn't talent, but infrastructure? What happens after the crowdfunding campaign ends? The hype fades and the algorithm moves on. Tonight, we're talking about building something bigger than a comic. We're talking about building the entire ecosystem. A platform designed for creators, by creators. The future of indie comics might not just be stories. It may be in an entire system. Ladies and gentlemen, the Council of Nerds is now in session. I know it's not Saurabh, but welcome to the USDN Podcast. Please correct me again.
Thank you for having me on the show, Chairman. I really appreciate that. And Saurabh, I think a good way to remember this is saw, stuff that you
Saurabh,
and then you rub.
You know what that's from?
Oh yeah, no.
Spider-Man 1.
Oh yeah.
Spider-Man versus what was his name? The Buzzsaw.
Yeah.
Macho Man doing that. I like it. I like that a lot. But bro, before we get started, let's tell everybody who you are and kind of what got you into comics in the first place.
Awesome. Thank you again. And I am Saurabh. I'm a comic nerd and a software developer for life. Like I've been building tech and stuff for almost 20 plus years now, and being a comic fan for all my life. I think it started with when I was growing up. My dad gave me the comic of the first issue of Comicbooks.one by Jim Lee and Chris Claremont.
Ooh.
That just changed my life. Like 1989 or 1990, that was the time. It just changed my life forever. Like that comic book was the best. And also, like, growing up, I was telling you backstage, we didn't have comic book shops, so we had like newspaper subscriptions. And I grew up in India where we had really long train journeys, so whenever we went on a long train journey for like 24 hours, we would just buy a whole stack of comics at the train stations, just read that for next day or so. And that's how I collected created like a big collection of comics by just having like.
It's really cool though. I always like learning about how different cultures and people who grew up in different cultures first experience comics for the first time. And shout out to Akihiro. He is a manga creator in the Philippines, doing it big over there. Glad to have you with us tonight, man. Good hearing from you too. But when did you kind of realize that comics weren't just going to be a hobby for you, but something bigger for you?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a bit of a writer myself as well. I wrote my first bootleg comic at, like, say, my 11 years or 12 years old.
Mhm.
My friend and I, we wrote and drew a bootleg version of Independence Day, of all things.
Dude, no, that's really cool. Like, I would literally like to, like, I would pay to read a new one like that.
You know what? It actually works really well as a comic book.
Yeah, I believe
And
it. I mean, a 12-part series of you know, of that would be like phenomenal to read.
yep. And then, like, I in about 2017, I actually published my first comic book on Kickstarter with a bunch of friends and, people in the US. So we came up with an anthology called Monster Mashup, which was uh, like a public domain crossover of monster characters. So
Mhm.
it was like a fun anthology, 150 pages each volume, produced 2 volumes of it. 2017 was a good time at Kickstarter. We raised around
Yeah.
$7,000 or something.
Yeah, that's for that time frame. Yeah, that's impressive. But you look at what some of these books are producing now. We're talking like 80, $90,000 for a comic book being raised, and it's just like absolutely unheard of for a single issue, like a
It
number
is.
one to garner that much attention. But it's happening.
It is happening. I mean, there's a good mix of IP comics and, like, not IP comics as well. I was looking at one of our creators who did a Kickstarter recently, and they did like a $31,000 campaign. And that's
Yeah, it's wild. And Chris Ford with Dark Pink Comics, his very first book, I think, ultimately raised like 80 something $1,000.
wow, that's
Yeah,
phenomenal.
for
Yeah, yeah.
for the very first issue, almost 80 grand. Yeah,
Yeah, that's amazing. I feel like if that's not telling you that it's time for indie comics, then what is?
dude, 100%, 100%. And we were talking before we went live, just like trying to put indie comics in the forefront of people's minds now, and it's starting to happen. But you have a tech background.
Yeah,
What kind of made you want to bridge tech and comic books?
absolutely. So, like I said, in 2017, I made this comic. We put it in hands of the readers, and then sort of fell off after that, right? Like
Mhm.
I feel like I don't think we had enough to keep going after that. So, like you said earlier, what happens when, like, you finish your crowdfunding campaign? You That whole month you're just focused on pushing your book,
Mhm.
like, on social media, you're telling people about it. That's Once all that's done, all you have to do is then create the book, print, ship, all of that stuff. You get into the cycle of creation, and that whole thing sucks your time.
Yeah.
And during that whole period, you're not pushing that book along. Like, it's not moving along. You lose the steam of, like, promotion. The fan base goes away. You have to do that all over again next time around when you do a campaign. So, when I went through that whole process myself, I thought, like, I think surely there has to be a platform out there that's going to do that for you, or going to help you in
Mhm.
some shape or form. And really, it crossed my heart. Like, I couldn't find anything back then. There was no Global Comics, or, like, any of the other platforms that we have now. Um, and I thought, maybe I should go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I started doing that. I started laying some groundwork around 2019 or 2020. Started talking to creators. Like, first couple of years, I was just talking to people and trying to see what's exactly the problem they're facing. And I kind of realized, like, a lot of creators want to create. They don't really want to market the books. They don't really
Yeah.
want to. They love speaking to their
Well,
fans, but, like,
they'll do the first 30 days of marketing to get the book funded. But after that,
and it's hard, and I'm not saying that everybody, like, it's everybody's cup of tea. Like, it's a very hard thing to do. People have a lot of people have different personalities. They're shy, they don't want to talk about it all the time. Some people even feel guilty about pushing their book too much, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you're not doing it enough, you should do it
Yeah.
more.
100%. If I'm
So
not annoyed by you pushing your comic book, then you're not doing it right.
exactly. So yeah, so that was the whole genesis of the idea, saying let's start a marketplace first for books that have already been created, that have gone through this cycle of crowdfunding, and let's try to find new fans for them, new readers, new fans. And then slowly over a period of time, and like, we can't say crowdfunding is not a part of, it's a very, very critical part of the whole process of comic book creation these days.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea kind of started snowballing into this thing where we need to help creators at every stage of their journey. So crowdfunding is good, but it's not perfect. We need to make it better from the current experience. That is, it feels a bit disjointed, right? Like you're writing a Substack newsletter and trying to push people to Kickstarter, and then you
Yeah.
send them to BackerKit after for fulfillment, and things like that. And then once all that's done, you put your book on Global Comics and Comixology
Yeah.
to
And
it just
it's funny that you brought up Comixology, because I used to love them when they first started. I thought they were amazing, but then I think it was when they got bought by Amazon, I was just like, this just ruined it. Like,
I know.
after that, I was just like, I don't care about this no more.
Yeah. I think around 2019 or 2020, Amazon just completely choked Comixology and killed it. I
Mm-hmm.
think that was like, for me, that was like a huge inflection point. For me, it was like a part of me died. I was like, I feel so bad that Comixology is
Yeah.
going away. I need to do this now. It was like the big push that I needed to kick this thing in motion. So yeah.
But
So
so
yeah.
you've ran your own Kickstarter campaign. So in your eyes, what was good, and kind of like, what do you think was broke during that whole process?
Yeah, like I said, I think with Kickstarter, the good thing is obviously Kickstarter has a huge community. They just on a day when you launch your campaign, they send those emails out to people, and when you're top of the category, that's when there's a whole swell of fans who come in, and who will have you'll have eyeballs on your campaign at that time. But that also is a spoil of riches, right? Like, there's you'll go down pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So within the next hour or so, you will know where to be seen in the whole sea of
Yeah.
those campaigns. There's also like and like back in 2017, Kickstarter was a very different time. There were not as many campaigns as today for comic books kicking off on Kickstarter too. So they were definitely, like, the good parts were, you get a community, you get all these people to yourself, and if you send the message the right way, you will definitely get funded. You will definitely
Yeah.
be able to raise funds. I think that where it kind of lacks, and it was a product of that time as well. Like, the post campaign experience was very lackluster. Uh, like, we were all managing it from spreadsheets, and like, it was a bit of a nightmare actually to do the fulfillment, because we had a printer somewhere in the US, and I was in Australia, and there's a whole bunch of, like, the couple of artists from Nigeria, from Argentina,
Mm-hmm.
and like, coordinating with everybody. That part was fun. Like, creating the comic was fun, but hard part was the proofs needed to be sent to, like, people all over the world, and then
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
making sure we're delivering the right product. And back then, shipping was not that big of an issue, so that side, despite everything, that kind of still worked. But again, like, just living within spreadsheets for that many days, and then, like, just
Yeah.
making sure everybody received their product. That
Yeah.
part itself was not the most fun thing to do.
Yeah,
You know?
almost every creator you back, once they're done with fulfillment, you can just. I love how most of them would send out something with their newsletter and saying, "Fulfillment's done. I'm going to hibernate for a couple of days and reconsider my life."
Yeah, exactly, and like you everybody every creator has one other part of their life, their job, and
Yeah.
like their kids and friends and everything, and everybody has to sacrifice that. Like, you're on a Saturday night, you're sitting there back, like opening Gemini mailers, making sure the books are padded, put it properly, and
Yeah.
all of that.
And please, y'all, for the love of God, if you're in the indie comic industry or the comic industry as a whole, freaking use Gemini mailers.
Please.
Like, nothing makes me more paranoid when I get home from working all day. I pull my package out of the mail and it's just in a regular mailer with some cardboard. It freaks me the hell out because I'm like, this shit's about to be heavily damaged. And if you put a sticker on it that says "Do not fold," guess the first thing they're going to do is fold it. Every single time. Like, I have heavy books. I have big old heavy books that I have, so in case something does get folded, just to stick those big heavy books on there, and hopefully it straightens them out.
Exactly. Even with Gemini mailer, sometimes I think there's a whole bunch of times that it can go wrong too. But like, it's good like 98% of the time. So that everybody should stick to that.
Please. And I understand they're not that cheap, but at the same time, we've chose the industry that we're in. Utilize the good stuff, But
exactly.
It's wild though when you get a comic book in a UPS envelope with 2 pieces of cardboard, taped around it, and you're like, oh, God.
Yeah.
And it's not bagged and board either. There's no bag and board. I'm like, come on. Like, I supported this campaign at the rate of, $12, $13, $14, $20, and my books come raw. No bag, no board. Like, I get it. It's expensive to create comic books, but come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
A lot of printers do bag and board themselves now. Like, I know these. Yeah. So I think that kind of brings me to another point where we're trying to solve all these problems, like this huge mess of like post crowdfunding, and with the help of experts. Like, I'm not 100% expert in it. I've done it. I've been like a DIY creator myself. So,
it sounded very long box punk of you to say.
DIY.
Yeah.
I love Chris. Shout out to Chris.
Hey, congrats to AHA as well, man.
Yeah.
Successful crowdfund on AHA Volume 1. Hopefully it's Volume 1 and we're getting another one soon. But shout out to Chris and Chris, man. They're great people. And thank them because they let me have the entire team to interview, which was a lot of fun.
Wow, that team has so many people I love, like Duke Electric. I love that guy.
That's my boy right there. That's my boy right there. Pink suit and all, man. I love him. And then Squids and that whole team, Travis. Like, that was such a fun thing to get to do, because normally when you talk to somebody about an anthology, you talk to the creators, but they gave me access to everybody. Like, I got to talk to almost everybody associated with the book. There was a couple of cancellations, but I understand that life happens. But just to get to talk to the majority of the team that worked on the book, so much fun. And it's just something you don't get to do often. Like, it's rare to get the opportunity to talk to an entire creative team on an anthology, and it was a lot of fun.
That sounds amazing. Did Juan Fox, from Hourglass Comics, did he come on the show as well?
No, he was one of the ones that didn't. But I had
But
Jasmine on, Squids McKenzie up in Canada. Of course, Travis James. Yeah, just such an amazing team. Let me oh, come on now. It's like my computer wants to be slow on me. Interviews. See, Chaz and Tony Cap, Evan Johnston, Jasmine, and Matt didn't make it for that one. Minaj is a phenomenal writer. He's based out of New York City. He wrote an Indian body horror story that was just like,
damn.
And I was like, that's legit. Like, I love it. He's such a nice guy too. Very well spoken. Everybody was very well spoken, and that's what I love about talking about to people in the community is they're all very well spoken, very well knowledgeable on everything. And then Travis James, of course, and yeah, Chris. Let me hop up to March. Let's see. Yep, Chris. Duke, of course, and Mids. Miguel's also, they're both in Canada as well. So, and I've talked to Paul Iza recently, who's now a part of the Comix.one family with the Olympian. Yep. So, yeah, man, I've had a busy, start to the year, and I've loved it, but I did have to pump the brakes. I was this, I'm doing too much. And I'm like, I need some me time.
It is very important to scale back at times,
and I think what I have now is a good footprint going forward. One every 4 days, I think is like the perfect setup, because it gives me time to actually edit things properly and do all these things that I want to be able to do. Plus, there's a lot of TV I want to watch. I still need to catch up on a lot of TV.
Very, very true. Very, very true.
Like all the good shows that came out since January, I have not got to sit down and watch. So like the new Daredevil, I need to finish One Piece. There's a lot of good anime that I haven't caught up on. So I'm like, I got to get caught up on everything. That's why I'm like, one every 4 days is good. Although I'm quit turning like right now with you and my interview on Sunday. I'm very excited to talk to her because she's an actress and she's been a muse for comic books and absolutely amazing person. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But continuing on. But so what happens to most indie comics after Kickstarter's in? I know we were just discussing it a little bit, but at the end of the day, it kind of just like it poofs, right? It disappears. Like it feels like you don't hear from them again.
Yeah. So the way we tried to solve that was that middle part of finding fans when your books have been created is really like that was we started with. But then we started with we put like a crowdfunding before that, and now we're putting up socials. So it kind of ties the whole thing. So you create your book with crowdfunding, you start pushing that on the socials, but then once you're done, before the next book comes along, you can start engaging your fans with different things, So we're kind of looking at doing live selling. We're kind of looking at doing like live streams. You can do Substack like blogs. You can have like a Patreon like thing where you want to do like if writers can do script consultations, we can buy one-off things from them, or like do merchandise and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's really cool that you're expanding it to become this megalith of a platform with all these different systems built in it. And I know you just brought up live streaming and like selling comics that way. So, is there another platform that you plan to use, or do you plan to build another platform within Comix.one to do that? Because I mean, Whatnot exists, and something I have thought about doing is like after interviews, because I'm set up as a seller on Whatnot. I just haven't started selling anything yet. And one of the things I've thought about doing is after I have somebody on, is like, hey, do you want to go live on a Whatnot stream and sell some of your books? It's something I have thought about doing.
That's a brilliant idea, by the way. You should totally do that.
and I think that's going to come probably in the second half of the year. So that, and so I have that coming. Like, I'm going to start offering that, and I'm also going to have I've already built sponsorship packages as well, so that will be coming in the later half of the year, where you can sponsor the podcast, and like basically it's free promotions for you for the month or for the week or for the show. There's going to be like 3 levels of packages: one for a month, one for like a week, one for like a single show. And basically, it's going to be basically not free advertising. I'm going to have to, because I'm going to have to put in some extra work on that. So, but it's definitely going to be affordable marketing and advertising for your company, publishing, what have you. And it's going to be done very nicely. It's going to be, pre-written into everything, and you'll get your shout out during the show. And so, it's going to be done nicely.
That's amazing. To answer your earlier question, so we're going to build it into the platform. So all the stuff that I'm talking about will be completely built into our own platform.
Nice.
We don't just want to be like, if you see, and I'll dial back a little bit. We talked about creating an ecosystem for comic books. It's not just the creators, not just the writers and artists and letters and all those creative people, right? There's another set of creative people who actually make things happen for comic book creators as well. So there's PR professionals, people like yourself, like podcasters and, like bloggers and media people and stuff. Comic book reviewers and,
I wish another thing that I wish I could do more of is reviewing, but I don't enjoy reviewing as much as I like talking to the creators. To me, that's more fulfilling than writing a review on your book, because if I don't like your book, I have to be brutally honest about your book, but I can come on and have a conversation with you about your book without ever having to see the book, because I'm letting you market yourself to the audience. Right. But if I'm asked to do a review on a book, I unfortunately cannot sugarcoat. And I won't sugarcoat, because I feel like I owe it as a journalist to be open and honest, right? So I'm definitely going to be open and honest. And if it's not good, I'm going to like, hey. So that's why I personally won't do reviews anymore, because I'm probably not that person. Like the few that I did do, I loved everything about the book. So it was easy. But then I was like, I'm going to stop this, because if I ever get my hands on something bad, I'm unfortunately going to probably hurt feelings. And I'd rather not do that. I would rather talk to the individual and let them share their story and their journey than, possibly ruin or strain a relationship because I gave them an honest review.
No, I think that's totally fair. And like, art is also very subjective, right? There's things
100%.
that you may not like and others may like, and vice versa. So like, and that's a very good, very fair call on your part. You do what
and it's one of those things where I'm still 100% on board for every creator has a voice, and every creator deserves to be heard. That's why I like the platform that I do. I still consider myself a piece of media. I let the creator come on, they tell their stories, and we take them on the journey of their creative journeys. And for me, I get to be fulfilled in that way, and letting you tell your story and getting to talk to you in your journey, and you get to tell your journey and how you became a creative. And to me, at the end of the day, it's very fulfilling. So
that's fantastic. Yeah. So I was telling you about reviews, right? So like that's one part of it. So we recently started onboarding some comic book reviewers, and what we're doing is they can actually read the books. They get kind of like a God mode for the whole platform. They can go in and read pretty much any book.
It's really
They can
cool.
leave pull quotes directly on the comic book listing, and they can also link it to their blog, so they get traffic. They can optionally, blog on our platform if they wanted to, write a full length review.
That's really
They can
cool.
get, thank you, and they have they can leave pull quotes directly, and yeah, and then users can see that when they see the comic book. So they have, like, when they look at a book's page, you can see user reviews, you can see reviews from professional reviewers.
Yeah.
You can see like people like the comic book creator posting about the book, if they have, say,
Dude, I'm in.
like,
You sold me. I'm in. Sign me up.
awesome. Yeah, sign up on the website. You'll get a whole bunch of books for free anyway.
I'm talking about now. I'm in, man. Whatever you need, I'm in. Let's do it. But why do you think discoverability drops off so hard after the campaigns? I don't want to call the creator lazy, because that's not the case at all. It's a lot of work. But everybody has to admit, unless that creator is 110% all in on what they do, they're thinking about what's next and what's coming up. And honestly, Comix.one is allowing them to hang the comic book there, and it's still doing its thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but why do you think the discoverability drops off so much?
There's two things. I think a lot of comic book creators, the one is like the platform thing. That's why we have all of these things in one place. For example, with crowdfunding, you're looking at Kickstarter. Then you built a whole bunch of fan base on Kickstarter. I would say like there's like 30 to 40% crossover between Kickstarter and Substack, for example, right? Your Substack is where you write like a weekly or monthly newsletter, where you write regularly. But then Kickstarter is where you're funding the books. So like there's a little bit crossover, but not a lot. So you're dropping some fans off there, dropping some fans there. This like piecing together everything is still a bit disjointed. All these different tools that you use to create, that's one. And the other part of it is, I think the focus kind of shifts away from marketing your book after a crowdfunding campaign. So for creators, like they want to make sure the book is produced after that properly, and this, like we talked about, fulfillment is such a huge undertaking. It takes your focus away from actually continuously marketing your book and your ideas, and you may have new ideas as well. So you'll be like, oh, I finished this book already. In my mind, the artist is going and doing their thing. They may come back with questions every now and then, but for me, this project is now complete as a writer. So just move on to a new idea.
And social media is such a huge thing now, because I'm on 4 different social medias, 5 technically if you count YouTube. And then I have my own individual like pages, my personal pages, which I don't really have a personal page no more, because I'm using both my personal and my podcast pages for all the same thing at this point, because I'm trying to push not just what I do, but the creators that I work with and I get to talk to on a weekly basis, because I find it to be so important to make sure that I myself are keeping the indie comic book spirit in front of people. That's why I create clips. I give creators the clips to share, and then I share them and I tag and I collaborate, and I'm just doing everything that I know I'm in control of to keep ensuring that they're still getting the marketing, they're still getting advertising, and they're still getting their stuff in front of people. So for me, I'm for sure doing my part, and I'm making sure that I'm doing my part. And I love it. It's for me, it's what I do. I go to my normal job, I come home, and I get to do this. Like, this is fun. Like, this is like, oh, it's a hobby. Like, yeah, but I'm currently podcasting in 2 different days. It is Saturday in Australia. It's Friday night in the US.
Yeah,
Come on, how often do you get to do that?
exactly. And you're like, I know it could sound like a hobby for a lot of people, but you are actually pushing real people forward.
Yes.
You're actually pushing those campaigns forward. People have backed AHA with real dollars and made it happen. So
Yeah.
like you've
So
you've
I was
made.
batting 1,000 up until recently. I've had one campaign fail. One out of probably 40, almost 50 campaigns that I've had on the podcast. I've had one fell. And I think it's because they kind of fell off on marketing themselves.
Mm,
Which,
that's
I mean, I
often the
was really
case.
excited to see that book get made. Like, I know it's already made. I mean, I can go and order the book if I wanted to, and I may still do that. But it's one of those where I'm not too pleased with what he did with some of the clips that I produced for him. Like, he altered them, and I'm not a fan of that. Like, if I go through a lot of trouble to make something and give it to you, I'm not charging you for clips. I would never do that. But then you alter them. Like, come on, dude, don't alter my shit.
Yeah. I know.
This is my money maker, man. Like, why would you hide this?
Exactly.
You get it. You get it.
Yeah.
So
one podcast to another, we get it.
exactly. So in the long run, do you think marketing is a problem, or is it a system problem that you're trying to fix with Comix.one?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of system and focus problem. So I'll give you an example. We just did a crowdfunding campaign on the platform.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be talking about that here in a little bit.
Yeah. And what we're going to do with that is, now that it's over, it just finished yesterday. So now that it's over, we have an expert coming in from the printing side and a fulfillment side. We already have like printers and fulfillment partners ready to go. There's shout out to Inkbridge. We're going to announce that very shortly, and this is an exclusive for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're hearing it first.
Yeah, so Inkbridge Distribution, they're going to be our fulfillment and distribution partners.
Okay.
It's co-founded by the founders of Band of Bards, who already know how the whole publishing and distribution side works. They have invented their own version of Gemini Mailer, which is like $2 cheaper than Gemini Mailer, and
nice.
is as good and slightly better in terms of how it holds up with damages and stuff like that. And they're able to do a lot of stuff like printing art prints internally and doing it cheap. Right here in the USA, like they have like a press in Buffalo and a fulfillment.
So why did you go with them versus like somebody else, like maybe Philbo, who I think is like terrific as well?
Yeah, I think it's also like we're a small group, like, and Band of Bards are one of the creators on the platform as well. Like they're small publisher, but they're also very driven. They're also like people like us who want to do it right by the comic book creators and publishers and indie books.
I was just curious about that. No, I mean, I love that kind of stuff where I appreciate it more when it's small business picking each other up and everybody's getting their piece of the pie, so to speak, even though that pie isn't very big and it's not very much right now. It's still, I always like to say, you get on the bottom level and you ride the wave up, right?
Exactly.
And I think with indie comics, there is no top. Comics is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and I think we're going to start seeing a lot more indie comics. That their chunk of that industry is going to start to grow. I'm not saying it's going to break 1 billion or 1 million. Well, million maybe, but it is going to start happening. It's going to start happening a lot sooner than we think it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Kickstarter sells 35 to 40 million dollars worth of comics every year.
Yeah,
This is just in 1 year. I follow their blogs every year. Like they put out these numbers, and that's just Kickstarter alone. So if you combine all these platforms where like Webtoon is listed on NASDAQ, like they're like huge.
But I've heard Webtoons has fallen off.
I mean, yeah, creators don't make too much money on Webtoon.
Yeah.
Like though oh, hey John.
Yeah, I left it up for you. John, thanks for tuning in, man. You've missed about 40 minutes of great conversation, but it's okay. You're here now.
And a mention to you. So yeah, we were talking about. Sorry, I just lost my train.
Oh, we were discussing like if it's a marketing problem or a system problem, and we were at the point where it's both. It's definitely a marketing. We were talking about the fulfillment. You made the big announcement on your new fulfillment partner with Comix.one, which is freaking amazing. I love to hear that you have these partners coming in and you're making things happen. And it's all small business, and it's such a cool thing, man. And you're doing it from Australia, which is even cooler.
I feel like we have a bit of an advantage being in Australia because we have access to these amazing people in the US, and also, sorry, I just keep going on tangent, so I'll finish my thought first.
No, like this is one of those where like there's no such thing as a tangent ever, because we're just talking indie comics, and it's one of those where let's just talk about it, man. I mean, I got points I want to cover, but we're covering them as we go. So
hit
those tangents, man.
Yeah. So the core idea is you take creators things off their plate. We don't want them to do the fulfillment bit. We'll just involve them, like say, okay, this is how it will cost. This is how much it will cost you. You can build this cost into your campaign, and then once it's done, Inkbridge can come and take over, do the fulfillment for you. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
They'll solicit quotes with the printers. They'll negotiate all of that stuff for you. We also have a whole suite of printers who can come in and like for example, in the US, we have Comics Wellspring, who we partner with for print on demand. We're also talking to them to see if we can do like crowdfunding partnership with them, so they can give us like different quotes for crowdfunding, maybe a bit more discounted ones for the creators. We have a partner in Canada. We're just about to finalize that deal with them. So Studio Comics is like
Studio Comics is great. Yeah, I've been trying to get him to come on for a while now. Yeah, I've been trying to get him on. Yeah, because I want to talk to publishers. I want this to be a home where like I want to talk to everybody from the industry, right? Not just the writers and the artists on occasions. I want it to be about everybody. Like right now, getting to talk to you, who has put together this amazing ecosystem of a platform for indie comics. I want to talk to the publishers. I'm going to have, hang on. I just brain farted and I don't like that. It's going to be July because I'm currently booking July. So if anybody's out there wondering, we're booking July right now. Wiseacre Comics. I'm going to have Frederick on here soon. Yeah. Nice. Who is great dude, like very responsive when I messaged him, because like I said, I've been wanting to have publishers on. I want to get Red 5 on. Red 5 Comics I think is amazing. They do a lot of amazing stuff. And which I had Alex DeLuca on not that long ago, and his work is published with Red 5 Comics. Nice. So I want to talk to everybody, man. If they're in the indie comic industry, I'll talk to them. I want to share their story and their journey of, what got them here. So
yeah. Now there's we have some really fun people as well. I can put you up with a few amazing publishers and creators as
Yeah,
well.
I was going to
Like
talk to
there's
you after the show about some of that stuff
yeah,
because I
definitely,
got a feeling we
definitely.
can scratch each other's back, so to speak.
Exactly, exactly. But yeah, I think that with these like amazing people who are supporting creators to do all these things that take up a lot of their time, it'll
Hmm.
free up their time to do marketing, explore ideas, and
Yeah,
like talk to their community and build fan base, and like you can do things like, oh, I have this idea in my mind. Can you, as my community of fans, tell me, like if this is a good idea or not? You
yeah.
can test your ideas. You can send out a test panel saying, "Oh, which one looks better, works for
No,
you." Things
that's
like
really
that.
cool because I mean, like right now I'm stuck on titles. Like I'm putting together a list of titles, so it'd be great if I could hop on the Comix.one webpage and like, hey, new creator, but I've been around indie comics for a few years now. Here's some ideas for my comic book or titles for my comic book. Give me your thoughts and
Yeah,
just let them debate it because I'm torn. Like I got it in my head where I think I want to go with it, but at the same time, I'm like, why is that the hardest thing?
yeah, exactly.
Coming up
There's
with a title for it and coming up with like good names for characters, or is like the toughest thing in my head right now. The story is there. It's just
yeah,
those parts, are like really difficult because I want them to tie to what the characters are. I just don't want to call him Steve because that's just weird. I want a name that kind of goes with the person.
yeah,
So, but so
yeah.
do you think creators are forced into this cycle of constant like crowdfunding launches just to survive?
I think so. I think
There's a lot,
it's
yeah,
yeah,
because they're doing it like this. Like they close a book, new book, close a book, new book, and it feels like it's like Jesus Christ, like what are y'all doing over there? It's like you have a factory of people just pumping out comic books for you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. I think it also is there because one, like people don't see that as the best. Currently, that's probably the best way to bring their ideas to life. That's one. The other also is if you don't do that constantly, then you lose you stand to lose the set of fans and the community that you've built on Kickstarter. So those are like really important things that people want to keep holding on to. That's why they're constantly like, let's just keep doing it. Like we launch a Kickstarter every month or 2 months, and like it is a grind. Like I cannot do it every 2 months. I like it will be
Dude, that would be
too stressful.
exhausting.
Yeah, yeah,
That would be like my
yeah,
January or my February and March, where I probably did almost 30 interviews between those 2 months.
yeah, yeah. And I think a certain section of people can do it because since they may and it's good on them that they have been able to build in a way that the book is actually nearly ready or ready before the campaign
Yeah.
goes live, uh, which is not the case for like 60 to 70% of the campaigns. They just come up with like preliminary sketches, and they finish like 70% of their book after the campaign's done. So like the whole process from taking the money from people from crowdfunding to like finishing of the book sometimes takes 6 months, 10 months, 18 months, even, like
Yeah.
like life happens to people along the way, and like they you know
The
and
number of people I
eventually.
hear where like something happens with their artist and now they got a halfway finished book and they have to find a new artist to finish that other artist's work. And a lot of artists don't want to pick up what another artist has done because it's not theirs.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's a big one that I see constantly.
yeah, And like that's why a lot of people more and more are trying to create like finish the books or bring it as close to finish as possible before the campaign even goes live. But that does mean you have to invest money up front, which is hard because you know it's
I
risky.
just
You
had
don't
this.
know.
I had that conversation with Kevin Davis recently of Kev's side, and I like think it was after we went off air. I was like, hey, dude, I was looking at your Kickstarter page and you need to fix a few things before it goes live. Otherwise, it's not going to do good. And he was like, oh, shit, I didn't even realize like I was doing those things or certain things were moved around or misplaced. And I was like, so I basically just like, hey, you want to do this, you want to do this, you want to fix this and that kind of stuff because and I'm like, oh, by the way, I noticed you only had like a few pages of the artwork. I always say between 6 to 8 pages of work already done. That way you can show it on your Kickstarter page that, hey, look, this is a real book. Here's like 8 pages of the book. Whether it has the words in it or not, I don't recommend you put the words in, but if you want to do 1 or 2 pages with words, I would recommend that. But don't have 8 pages of the full lettering and art done, but at least have, 3-4 pages, of art, and then maybe 1 or 2 pages of, completed pages with lettering the whole nine. Because when I go to a Kickstarter page that I'm interested in, and it doesn't have those things, or if things are just out of place and it just completely chaotic, like it shows me you don't care enough to make sure it's as close to perfect as you can get it. So I'm not going to back it because you obviously don't care. That's how I take it.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. And I think like I'm not saying you invest the whole thing up front, but invest, like you said, just enough for people to
Yeah.
understand that you had an idea in mind and there's a certain vision you have for your comic book. There's this like there has been some work done to actually make that idea somewhat real, like
Yeah.
even in your
And
mind.
to be fair, a lot of artists aren't going to even start on it unless they've gotten at least half the payment or most of the payment up front.
Yeah.
I don't pay them 100% up front. I never recommend that because, you don't, especially if you don't know the person, but, invest some of the money up front, get your 8 to 10 pages to show like, hey, my vision is coming to life. This is what you're investing in.
Yeah,
And people
exactly.
are going to want to invest in that with you. But again, you're going to have to, we don't get into indie comics for money. You get into it because you love it.
Yeah,
And if you don't love
exactly.
it, well, you're going to hurt at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, exactly. So like and the thing also is like what I've seen also lately is a lot of creators don't want to even some creators saying like we completely don't want to go crowdfunding. We are able to pay the artist, we'll get the book done. We just want, like say a pre-order campaign, which sounds awfully similar to crowdfunding, but it's solely focused on like say setting up a pre-order and releasing a book on a certain date. Or they want to do a small batch print run saying, oh, we just want to print 100 copies of this
Yeah.
issue and then sell that off and see what the market's like. I think like everybody has a different journey as a creator and they want to do it their way, and that's the flexibility independent comics does give
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
You don't have
No,
to pay.
it's one of those where you're wanting to break into the scene. You already have it done. You've only done it digital, but you want to take, your book to a Comic-Con. You got a table or a booth at a Comic-Con. I need 100 copies or so to sell, or 50 copies to sell. I just want to see if it's going to be marketable for a large scale in person. And because at the end of the day, Comic-Cons are going to be your friend or your enemy, right?
Yeah, Yeah. Some people just want to say like, "Oh, I've sold 100 copies," and then go to a publisher saying like, "I've sold 100 copies of this book. People have said good
Yeah.
things about it," and maybe they want to get picked up by a publisher. So every creator has their own version of the journey, right? So
Yeah. No, I mean, that's true, but I can tell from experience. And when I say experience, I've literally talked to tons of publishers at this point, or creators at this point. Every single rejection letter they've ever gotten is because, what are you known for? What have you done? Oh, I wrote this one book and sold 100 copies. Publisher going to go, okay, cool. Come back when you sold 1,000, or come back when you've published more than one book. That's how they are.
Yeah, yeah. And also putting myself in publishers' shoes, they get a whole lot of submissions. So they're well within their rights to say no to a lot of these people if it doesn't fall in the right, like not in their wheelhouse. If it feels like something that they would not produce as a regular programming, or even if they do, like they're well within their rights to say no to most of it if they don't feel that's the right book for them. So um we've had like this, because this for Comix.one, the journey has still been like, I'm still so deeply involved with everything. Last few years have been just me going, oh, this is a good story for this publisher. I have actually connected like creators with publishers, and the books have got published, and they're like, wow, that like didn't expect that to happen, but that happened.
And that's why I've been trying to get publishers on the podcast, because I would like to be able to do what you've done there. It's kind of connect people where like, oh, I know this publisher likes this type of story or this type of book. Hey, let me put you in contact with this person and see if they want to do this book with you. And that's where I kind of want to get to with this eventually is, yes, I can give you advice on your Kickstarter 100%. I just did it. But I want to get to that point where I can do that too. Like, oh, I know this one publisher. Let me, contact them and get y'all into contact with each other, and maybe we can make something happen there. Because that's the type of story they like to produce, and that's where I want to get to, man. That's to me one of those goals I have where I have like 10, 15 different publishers that I've got these relationships with, where I can kind of like, maybe not that story, but maybe you can try this guy over here. He may, or they may. So I want to do more for the community other than just tell the stories, right? And this is my favorite part. Don't get me wrong, but I do feel like I want to do more for the community as well. And that's one of those where I feel like I could do that.
Love it. I love it. We need more people like you.
We do, but at the same time, I'm kind of trying to mine, like the seagulls from Finding Nemo. Mine. But what we're saying is that indie comics don't have a life cycle. They have these spikes, and what Comix.one is doing is, when you're not spiking, they're there for you to fill in those gaps of those spikes, which is a really dope platform to be able to do that, because there's not one. It's one, and it's Comix.one, which is wild. See what I did there?
You did something amazing.
But we're looking at it like this. Comix.one right now is a marketplace, community, a reader platform, soon to be, well, you're already doing crowdfunding, soon to be live sales, all-in-one ecosystem that is expanding still. So, but what is Comix.one at its core?
At its core, it is a place for indie comic creators and fans to connect. I think that's really the core of it. We're all, a lot of times they both are the same person because we all are creators and fans ourselves.
100%. if I wasn't such a huge fan that I was very passionate about this, like this would feel like a job, but this doesn't. I'm just talking to my new best friends every single time I do this.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. Exactly, exactly. And that's the point. We want indie comics and fans to connect, and there are so many different ways to do that. Like crowdfunding is one, and marketplace is one. If you like the digital comic, you can order a print version of that and support your favorite creator
I
there.
mean, you have print on demand, which is freaking dope as hell. Like, how often can you just have a single book printed? I mean, I know Amazon does it, but that's like a large scale, and I've never ordered a comic book off of Amazon, to be fair, and I don't think I ever would.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, I order my cat's new collars off of Amazon because they go through them like every 4 months. It seems like they lose them, and I just got to a point where I just order them in bulk and slap a bell on them.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it's kind of weird in my head to order a comic book off of Amazon. I get my manga through there, yeah, but I have that on pre-order. Like like certain series that my daughters like, it just I have it set to like this new issue comes out, sends it straight to the house.
Yeah, yeah. And even then, like I love distributors. Like, I don't know if you use Denpa, and like have their own like manga stuff. Like sorry, for my idea is that, like, for when you order a print on demand book from Comix.one, you support the printer who prints that book, you support the creator who creates that book, and you support us in helping them get that support.
See, and that's what's cool, and it's all small business, right? Which is even better. So, what's the turnaround time if you print on demand through Comix.one and through a publisher or your publisher? What's the turnaround on that?
Usually like 7 to 10 days. Like,
It's not bad.
Receive the book at your door. Yeah,
that is not bad at all. And it's wild to think about 7 to 10 days from print. They're not printing 2, 3, 4, 5, unless they get that many orders for the book. They're printing one book, bagging it, boarding it, sticking it in a Gemini, and slapping in a sticker on it and sending it to your house.
Exactly.
Which is absolutely cool as hell. Like, who else does that?
Yeah, yeah. We're actually very lucky to work with Comics Wellspring. They're huge comic book fans themselves, and like that's
always helps, right? When they're big comic book fans themselves. But so what do you think end-to-end actually means for creators?
You mean like being on Comix.one, you think?
Yeah, no. Yeah. I mean, you are Saurabh or Saurabh. Yeah, Saurabh.
You got it. You got it.
Of Comix.one. Yeah, we're talking about Comix.one. Like, what does end-to-end actually mean for creators on Comix.one? Come on, man. You need another cup of coffee. That's what it is.
I do. Yeah. No, I think for end-to-end means, as a creator, you can run your indie publishing business as a business there. Like you're in business of creating comics.
It's wild. Yeah. End-to-end, cradle to grave.
Yes, exactly.
Although it never dies, it's there.
No, it's there. It's there. That's one of our promises. We want to be there till the end of the internet.
That's amazing. So, it really is. Like, I love the term cradle to grave, but in this case, it's not cradle to grave. It's from birth to whenever the next issue of that book comes out, or whenever they decide to launch a new title, and it's there, and you support that from the bottom to the top now. And your ecosystem is continuously evolving and getting better and adding new pieces to the ecosystem.
Exactly. And that's you. I think in my email I did mention and it's like an economy, right? It's like a comic
Yeah.
economy. That's what we're setting out to build, because we feel like everyone, like people like you, people who actually recommend books in a comic book shop, like everyone is such a key part of comic book economy. Like the printers and distributors, and like even people like translators and like
Yeah.
letterers, and like
I talked to somebody not that long ago that they actually have had their comic book requested and translated into like 9 different languages now.
See, that's a huge skill, and we actually work with a publisher who imports indie manga from Japan, translates it to American English, distributes it in the US. And like there's so many, and also vice versa. We actually work with somebody who actually translates books in Japanese and distributes it in Japan. So
yeah, that's really cool.
So all these people are so important, such important part of this whole economy of comic book creators. We want to build this whole place where everybody wins. Like you, as a comic book, journalist, get to talk with fantastic people, push their books. The fans keep discovering new comic books. Creators
That's
keep
literally like my
new
favorite
stuff.
part of the job there. That is my favorite part of this.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, my kids are trying to bust through the door.
Let them in. Come on. So you're building Amazon, Kickstarter, and the Patreon of comics right here, all in one. Comix.one. See what I did there again? Exactly. I don't know how it keeps happening, but it's probably going to happen 2 or 3 more times. And I'm just making that up as I go. That's not over here. That's not written in.
Fun fact, I have to tell you this before I forget it. We are creating a mascot for Comix.one. One of our creators is actually designing it right now, and it'll be on the merchandise. I promise you to send a T-shirt as well.
Appreciate it. That's dope. Like, you should have seen me trying to shrink down your logo to use last night. I was like, oh. I went and I got the circle one, like the pink circle with the smaller circles. I was like, okay, I can work with this one, and I can like get it to squeeze in better, because the Comix.one, I couldn't make that one work. I had to go with the circle one.
That circle is kind of like the galaxy of stars. That's the idea. It's like an ecosystem, a universe where all these beautiful comic creators and they're all support system. They all come together as a universe of indie comics. But we before I forget, we're creating this character called X1, which is Comix.one, X-Men.
Oh, that's cool.
X1.
That's really cool. I like that. I see what you did there. Yeah, that's really cool. That is really cool. So with Comix.one, do you think this is the next step into moving toward a global fulfillment model for indie creators?
Yes. So we already, like Studio Comics, I mentioned, we're already starting to create a distribution network in Canada. So Studio Comics is going to be the print-on-demand partner in Canada. They're also going to put
good people too.
Yeah, amazing people. Really, again, like big, because they run a comic book shop as well. They're
I was about to say they run a comic book shop. Yeah,
exactly. And what we're trying to do is, even with Inkbridge and Studio Comics, we're actually trying to get these books into shops, like actual brick and mortar comic book shops.
That would be so awesome. But I know so many shops push back so hard on indie creators, unless they know them personally and they're big supporters themselves of indie comics to begin with. But I hear that's like the horror story of the indie world, right? Is trying to get their books in brick and mortar. I know I probably talked to about a handful of artists and writers who have been able to get their work into brick and mortar, which is a low number considering how many people I have talked to. Like, we're talking less than a handful of people who've been able to successfully get their books into brick and mortar.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I get both sides. I understand why a lot of comic book shop people are comic book shop owners are skeptical about it because they see Kickstarter. To me, I feel like that's a wrong interpretation of
Mhm.
Kickstarter or crowdfunding. Like people see them as a competition, like a alternate distribution network.
But I
I
think the
see it as a
biggest thing
test
with that
market.
is it's the upfront cost versus will they get return on investment. That's
That's
the
true.
biggest one because they're having to pay for those books that may not move. It may just go
Yeah,
into a dollar bin,
yeah,
and that's their biggest worry. Is yes, they want to do it, and I honestly think they do want to do it, but they're scared on the return of investment.
exactly. Also, a couple of other things. Indie comics are way more expensive, and rightly so, because they're produced in much less numbers. I mean,
Yep,
Marvel comics are industrial, right? They're industrial comics. They're
exactly.
produced at a very different scale, and the volume itself, like you can, if you say yes to one, you will get like 500 requests the next
Yeah,
day to buy indie comics. So like.
yeah,
Um, so that's why I think what Studio Comics and Inkbridge are doing is doing the right way. They have their own catalog, previews catalog, which they
yeah.
send out to the comic book shops, just like Diamond used to
Yeah,
do.
it's FOC. You still have FOC. Every comic shop goes to the website. They go through the FOCs. They pick out the quantities and what they want. And yeah,
Yeah,
but it's kind of cool
exactly.
though if it's an indie creator, pure indie creator, sending out their own FOCs for certain books. That would be really cool to see.
Yeah, exactly. We also have, I think, like outside these two amazing ones, we're actually working out something on our own. So we have like printer in China and Australia, and
Mhm.
we're looking at doing rest of the world through them. So the printer in China is able to print and ship to the UK, Europe, and a lot of
Mhm.
other countries. Um, yeah, that just like breaks those barriers, right? You can have fans
Yeah.
anywhere in the world,
And,
and
and that was literally my next question is this is removing the friction from creators in doing these things. Like they can basically put their feet up and relax because they have these tools through you and through Comix.one that are taking care of a lot of the headaches that they would normally have. I mean, it's still good and wise of them to continue to market themselves. And one of the easiest ways to do that is social media. But it's hard to post to social media every day. But what I have found is like Buffer. Like you can literally go to Buffer, build all your social media posts in there, and it takes care of everything for you. It does all your posting, which is I haven't started using it yet, but I'm already kind of like playing around with it just to see how much I like it. And so far, I'm like, yeah, I still have to
yeah,
do a lot of stuff manually. Like I still have to do YouTube myself. I still have to share everything to groups myself, but at least I don't have to, you know, it's already there.
yeah,
And I don't,
yeah,
and like if I'm just posting a clip to Facebook, I just do that through Buffer and it sends it
yeah,
to Instagram and Threads and Blue Sky and Facebook for me.
exactly,
That's like 20
exactly.
minutes worth of work you didn't have to do. Or you did it
Yeah,
one
yeah.
day last week.
No, exactly. And you said it earlier, and I say it again. If you won't push your books, who will? You
A
have to
hundred
market
percent.
your books.
Yeah.
You're like you have to
Even at the end of
champion
the
your
day,
book.
there's only so much you can do for them.
That's true.
They still have to be pushing the app or the
Yeah,
website. They still have to do these things for themselves to market themselves because there's only so
exactly.
much that you can do.
Exactly. Like we were talking to some other creators who were last year, and they were like, "Oh, why didn't the crowdfunding campaign work for me? And I was like, yeah, because you have to push it really hard. Like if you don't do it, then it won't happen. Like we can provide you with all the support we can from our side, but like it's your fans. They want to
Yeah.
hear your voice, and they want, they want to know why you're doing this. Why have you created this book? What's the idea behind it? Because you are just one person, like it's I'm not saying it in a bad or pejorative way. You're just like I'm also that. Like I'm also somebody. Like it's not, you're not, Jeff Johns. You're not, like you know all these big creators, like you're an
Yeah.
individual who's making this amazing story that's personal to you. And that's fantastic that you have been able to do that. But if you don't tell it your way and you don't tell why people should back you, then nobody will
Yeah.
back you. It's
Nobody's
as
gonna give a
simple as
shit. Like
that.
nobody is gonna give a shit unless you tell your story.
Yeah, yeah.
And it is bad to say it that way. And I know a lot of people don't want to do podcasts and they don't want to do these types of things, and that's fine. But it sure makes it easier on you at the end of the day, you know.
Exactly.
But in this whole thing, it just goes to show you don't need a warehouse or a big machine to run a comic business. You're literally
Yes.
doing it from your office at home.
Yeah.
And you're making all
Exactly.
these amazing things happen for indie comic creators around the world, which is,
Yeah.
again, just such a cool concept and such a cool thing that you're doing for the community itself. So, and you've already
No,
made your big announcement, which was really cool. I can't thank you enough for sharing that with everybody here. It's such a dope thing to like. I've been getting a lot of big announcements lately. I like it. But we've already covered crowdfunding and like kind of like, so I do want to ask you this. So when you were like preparing the ecosystem to start crowdfunding, like what was your framework for that? Did you go with the Kickstarter framework or like an Indiegogo, or I think Zoop is another one? Like when you put that together, like what was your like model for that?
Yeah, we wanted to, I think it's kind of like a hybrid of Kickstarter and Indiegogo in that sense that
Mm-hmm.
we don't want to restrict the funds, at least for the time being. Like the creators that we're working with, they have their projects ready to go, their books are ready. It may evolve in future into more something that's more closer to Kickstarter with all or nothing. At the moment it's you keep what you raise,
Yeah.
and we wanted to do it that way because creators have already created the book. They want to give it a limited print
Yeah.
run, or they want to raise money for like
Just maybe to
finishing the
get the
book.
book finished. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's
exactly.
I like that. And I think that takes away a lot. One of the biggest headaches with Kickstarter is even if it doesn't fund, they can still receive the funds. But do you have a guarantee that the people will still get what they pay for?
So I was saying, I think what you're saying is absolutely right. With regards to the money, like
Yeah.
people, we validate the cards, and instead of charging them at the end of the campaign, we actually do charge them live, so people get live pledges.
Mhm.
They get Creators actually keep getting money transferred to their accounts every second day, even during the campaign. We
Well,
don't
let me
lock their
ask you
funds.
this: what's the guarantee on that?
That's the part we really work hard on. So like we work really hard to make sure the creators that we work with have to deliver. We get there, like that's why it's very concierge based. We don't do it like a mass scale thing right now.
Yeah.
I think it will change over a period of time when we put all these guardrails in place where there are things that are protecting the backers when we are
Mhm.
not looking at it all the time. Right now we're kind of micromanaging it in the sense that we curate these creators. We see that they have the books ready to go. There's no risk
Yeah.
there for, like the completion of the book.
Mhm.
And then like the other part of the ecosystem where like the printers and everything is all lined up, so backers are sure to get their books and they
Okay.
don't bear that risk.
Because that's the scary part of when I heard that is I'm like, what's stopping them from just not delivering? They got paid, they don't care, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's not me saying like the persons are dishonest or anything like that. It's just it's a scary thought when you invest your hard-earned money into a creator and then that creator not deliver. I've seen Kickstarters do that where it hit goal and then what should happen is it gets printed and the books get fulfilled, right? They get delivered and
Yeah.
it doesn't happen at all. The person just takes the money and they're like, oh, whatever. I've seen that happen.
The most
It's like a
infamous
horror
case.
story that I hear from people.
Yeah, the most infamous case is from UK. There was a Kickstarter campaign called Tales from the Quarantine. They built an anthology. They got all these creators to do work for free. They said they would donate this money to charity. They
Mhm.
raised over like $40,000 on
Wild.
Kickstarter
It's a big
and just
Kickstarter.
disappeared. Poof, gone.
Oh, man, that's God, it makes me want to drag people like that out back and just rock and beat the snot out of them.
No, yeah, exactly. So I think right now, because we're small, we're able to control that side of things, and we are trying to do that by working with these really amazing creators who we know really well, and we know
Yeah.
the books are ready. They will be delivered
Mhm.
100% to the backers. There's
Yeah.
no modicum of doubt on that. I think as we grow, we will put guardrails in place or
Yeah.
evolve this a little bit more to be more backer friendly in that sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to be creator friendly now in the beginning of this stage, but as it expands, you definitely have to have those guardrails in place to protect both parties
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
it's scary to think about when people are investing their hard-earned money into something they believe in, then only to find out that person that you believed in isn't the person you thought they were. And people will fucking bury you on social media if you pull that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Because I've
I
gotten
know.
messages from people who are like, I can't believe you're going to have this person on your podcast. I'm like, whoa. First of all, I'm like, I don't know anything about that until now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when did this happen? Oh, a long time ago. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not here to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm talking about what's now. Like, I'm sorry that happened to you. Not my problem. And I'm not going to discuss that with the creator either because that's disrespectful. Now, if it was like knowing what I know now, maybe I would call them out. But at the beginning of this, no, probably not. I wouldn't have, because that's not what I'm here
Yeah.
to do. I'm here to focus on
Yeah.
the positive and focus on the journey. And we are continuing our journey after I had to make that emergency pit stop, man. Oof.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
you
know.
ultimately, at the end of the day, are fits in the fulfillment. And that's the part that nobody really likes to talk about. And you have multiple avenues for fulfillment, whether it's a digital or a print. You have parties in place that handle all of the above, which is really cool. And so is the creator themselves like fulfilling the digital stuff, or do you have somebody who is like say if I ordered a digital print, like who's sending that to me? Who's it coming from?
The digital comic? That's
Yeah.
us. We it's done through the platform. It's in there.
Oh, okay. So if I buy something right now off of Comix.one, the app, the website just boop, here you go.
That's it. So we have like our pledge manager where people have to upload the digital copy of the book,
Gotcha.
and
Okay.
then they just press a button saying fulfill, 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 done. And people get sent out emails saying this book has been added to your digital library. You can either read it online, download it to your favorite reader, or you can read it on our iPhone app. So it's the digital library automatically syncs. It's there for you to read.
We haven't brought that up yet. Is the app
Yeah,
live? Like, is the app ready to go? Is it ready to be
the iPhone app
downloaded?
is already, yeah, it's iPhone app is in the App Store. The Android app is what we're working on right now.
Okay, I
So,
knew there was one that was being worked on still. I just didn't know which one it was. So
and
nice.
we're actually doing a complete overhaul of the app. The new app is going to be something completely different from what you see on the App Store today. So
Okay.
it the whole marketplace is going to be on there, so you can actually buy books, digital and print, directly from the mobile app, and um, also like your whole digital library is going to be there. So it's going to be a bit more, even like, and eventually the idea is you can do all of that stuff that we talked about on the mobile
Mhm.
app as well, not just the web. So you can live
Yeah, that's
stream.
that's kind of cool because I know somebody who literally writes their books and everything off their phone. Like
Yeah,
he
yeah.
does everything from his phone, from writing his books, everything. Yeah,
Crazy. Yeah.
yeah. So, but you're also building a social platform. What does that look like?
Right now, it's very bare bones. So you can just do like social posting, similar to like Facebook. Like you can put up images and text based posts, and you people can like comment, all of that stuff. And people can actually follow you already, so you can actually start building that fan base. You
I
can
got to get
create
my
a
account on
profile.
there, man. Got to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I'm not gonna
Um,
lie to you, man. I was kind of holding out. I wanted to talk to you. I wanted this to happen before I fully committed myself to the platform. And I think a lot of it is because I'm not a big digital guy, right? We were talking
mm,
about that before we went live, and I'm like, after talking to you now, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm 100% like bought into this, and I love what you're doing. Like it's truly phenomenal what you are doing. But
thank
we
you.
got to keep going, man. We got to keep going. And so you're not trying to replace any social media here. You are actually just trying to provide a piece of social media purely for the indie comic world. There's no girls trying to sell you OnlyFans and stuff like that. This is strictly for indie comics, and that to me is like, let's
This is
roll, let's go.
only indie comics, not only fans.
Oh, I like it. I like what you're doing. So, like, how do creators like get discovered inside of Comix.one?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I know you
So
have a really nice landing page, and like, so say it's my first time landing on Comix.one, and say I want to I want to find a new horror comic. How would I go about that on Comix.one?
yeah, awesome. So if you go on Comix.one today, you'll see, and you browse down, you'll see a list of genres there, and you can actually we have segmentation by genres. You can look up by, like, say, the price point that you want. Say you want, like, say, $1 books or something like that. You can filter by that, and there's a bunch of free comics as well. So there's few different ways to like look out using the genres. You can also go on the search box. If you know the creator by name, you can actually search by their name or for a specific comic. We also have, and this is off. There's a lot we want to do on the platform with the discovery. Now that we have enough number of books, we have like
Mhm.
3,000 plus books now on the platform. So now we can actually
Wild,
start.
wild, dude.
Yeah,
You So Comix.one has been around what, about a year, 2 years?
yeah, 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah.
But like we went the big end of last year, we had like 350 comics. So we have 10x the number of comics this year, and it's just grown like crazy. Yeah,
And it's continuing to grow, and not just like growing in a way that we're talking like good publishers here. You got Acorn Comics on there now, and like people that I personally know are starting to show up on the Comix.one app, which to me is another really cool thing. And I know I was like teasing this interview for a while now, and I intentionally didn't repost my calendar like I normally would, because I just wanted it to be like, hey, just because I'm doing things this way now doesn't mean I'm not going to have like, the Saurabh on here to talk about Comix.one, which is really freaking cool to get to do. So yeah, it was a reason why I didn't repost my calendars, because I wanted it to be like this really cool, like, pop-up show. Not necessarily a pop-up show, but it was a pop-up show. Even though I've had to, schedule now for a couple of weeks, maybe a month at this point.
Yeah.
So it was really cool for me to get to do that. And I wanted to be able to like, hey, look, boom, look what we're doing. So
yeah. So I think as that social bit starts coming in, we'll be creating like a whole new timeline kind of thing, a page where you can actually see a mix of books and creator posts, and you can discover a lot of stuff based
like
on
your for your page.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's really cool. So do you think we're moving toward niche platforms or versus general platforms? Do you think we'll see that?
I think so. I think it's already there. I think we in our backstage.
It's there now. You just did it. You just did it.
Well, yeah, we're coming along well, but I would say we're not fully successful yet. Till the time we get that machine going for the creators, which I feel like we're still in work in progress. Like
100%, but I gotta fill in these next 2 to 3 years are going to be like absolutely huge for the indie comic industry. And you are literally getting in at the bottom level of that. And you've created something that's going to elevate it to that where we were talking about. But, and this is with being a social media platform baked into Comix.one, these creators aren't having to fight the models and the car ads, and it's just, there's no ads. It's just them getting to put their stuff out there for people on the app to see, which is really cool. And if you're a comic book person, an indie comic book person, this is like next level for you. Like, this is where you want to be, is on a space that is literally built for you. Man, how cool is that?
Yeah, I mean, these niche spaces are so important because they give people focus, like both fans and the creators, because fans can come in and see really the stuff that they want. Like if they like science fiction, they like horror, they like manga, they like, all any stuff, any genre that you like, you can just come in and start looking at, like, the books that from that side, and for creators, because it just cuts out all the other noise, like you rightly said, and the best example, like I was saying backstage, is GameFound, because GameFound just looked at like RPG games. They were just doing that, and they just completely went so deep in that niche. They started like they were doing at some point. I know that GameFound overtook Kickstarter in number of games that they were producing every year on their RPG games. I
forget that Kickstarter does games as well. Like
it is
because I don't go there for that.
Category. Yeah. But so and they ended up buying Indiegogo, which was like the second biggest incumbent.
We were just talking about that. Yeah.
So so it's crazy, like you can go quite deep in a niche, and I respect what Zoop was trying to do then, and I know
I think that had a lot of potential in it that it just couldn't deliver on.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much about them because they're sort of a competition. They're good people. They're lovely, amazing,
Yeah.
amazing people. I think they do. The only feeling with Zoop is they can't decide if they're a service company or if they're
Yeah.
a product company. They either want to put a
Yeah.
crowdfunding
You,
product out or they want to do the service side.
yeah,
Sorry.
you have to pick a side of the bridge on that one. But
Exactly.
let's talk a little bit more about you're working on this new part of the ecosystem with selling comics, and we've already discussed it's going to be very similar to like Whatnot. And I had told you beforehand, like that's something that I kind of want to incorporate at some point is after a interview, just having the creator like, hey, do you want to go live with me on Whatnot and sell some of your comic books? Which I don't know if I can do that. It's something I need to speak to the people on Whatnot about. And I do plan on doing that here very soon. And it's just try to make that happen because I think that would be something cool to do. But you're also doing this. And so do you think that how will streaming like a live auction like stream change the creator to fan relationship? That's going to be a huge next step for your not just Comix.one but indie comics in general.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like that will bring fans and creators even more closer, in my opinion. Like there's I think a lot of fans have this thing where they want to buy directly from the creators because they're like this is the original source of that stuff that I
Yeah,
love. You know, like I think that's like I'm just getting it from where it's all started. So like for them,
yeah,
if they're buying directly from a live stream where a creator is talking about the book, or like say even doing like say live art, like say if they're doing live commissions and you're buying directly from there,
hmm
or you're talking about the book and saying the link is available, or like you can buy directly in the stream, and you're showing off pages and whatever that is. It just, for me, that relationship one, it goes beyond just that transactional one. Like it goes beyond that. I'm buying a comic book. It goes from like, I really love this creator, I really love what they're doing, I really like what they're
hmm
thinking about, how they're thinking about these characters, the
yeah,
story, and they have a very unique point of view. I love that, and that's probably why I'm buying it directly from there. And like, and from the creator standpoint, it does turn them into a marketer and like their
it
own
kind of
voice, gives
forces it,
them
right? It kind of
it
forces
forces
it a
it,
little
right?
bit. It also what you get from this experience when let's say a creator goes live on your own Comix.one to have a sell of like some of their backlogs of stuff like I have these books I need to get rid of. They're my books. It's almost like a miniature con live, right? Because you're getting to talk to the creator, you're buying his work, and it's kind of cool. Like you're getting to like watch them live, like on Whatnot. Like when Tyler Kirkham goes live or when Todd McFarlane goes live, it feels like it's a little miniature con all of a sudden. You're typing in your comment like, "Hey, it's so good to see you on here."
Oh yeah.
Like I have this book, but now I want to buy it again and get it signed by Tyler Kirkham. I've done that. And it was just really cool to watch Tyler Kirkham actually sign my book that I just purchased. And it was that Comic Con experience without having to be around all the smelly people.
Yeah, yeah. There's also like this whole for fans, this whole rush of, oh, I got a shout out from Jim Lee. That's like, oh, that's
Dude,
my life.
that,
You
yeah,
know, like they work
dude,
there.
who better, man? Like when you get recognized by freaking Jim Lee, such a cool
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, the
exactly.
dude's he's if there was and I think there should be a Hall of Fame for comic book creators. Like he's like a first ballot Hall of Famer in my eyes all day.
Yeah, man, he's up there with Jack Kirby and everyone else.
Yeah,
Like he's
100%.
yeah.
Like there's a generation there with Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane, Liefeld, and I'll throw him in there too. There's that generation of comic book creators who are now running the comic book scene, right? And it's kind of wild to see these guys. Like I remember in 93, 92, when these guys first, burst onto the scene with Image, when they created Image, and freaking he's running DC now, it's like, what the hell?
Insane.
It's insane. And it's so cool to see that we've watched this evolution of him.
Yeah. No, I actually love what they've done with Image, and like what Image has become after them as well. Like it's just become this amazing place where like talent comes and like thrives and like creates this. I don't know. The books I've read with Image have just been so wild and like stuff that I'd never imagined. Like Paper Girl, like I couldn't. Not in 1,000 years I would have imagined Paper Girls being put out by like say Marvel or DC.
No, you would never get that, and that's what I love about them so much. Is a lot of the stories that you would probably be purchased off a Kickstarter or a local comic convention. Image is publishing those books. We got Tigress Island right now. Just so many titles that are like being produced by them, and not just them, but Dark Horse and Boom Studios is doing phenomenal things. Ignition Press, Mad Cave, The Keen Spot, EC Comics. So many great things are coming out right now, and you're just like, it's overwhelming every week, and it's the best type of overwhelm to have, right?
I know.
So many amazing indie titles out there being produced by companies, and you're just like, I love it.
There's also this amazing thing happening. So a lot of indie folks are crossing over to mainstream IPs. So one of the people who used to work with us, they were T. Fogner. Shout out to T. They're amazing. They're like the acquisition editor for Boom now. So and they work and they're responsible for Power Rangers. So and now you just saw the new announcement. Joey Esposito, who created, he's now spearheading Power Rangers, the new new series.
Was Power Rangers Prime, or I think is what it is. Power Rangers Prime.
Yes, or Ultimate.
Ultimate. It's one of the two. I can't remember if it's Prime or Ultimate, but no, I've seen it today actually. Like it come across my feed on Instagram.
Exactly. So like these are the people who have been creating on Zoop and Kickstarter and all of that stuff, and now they've graduated from there to like Power Rangers, and like it just feels awesome that like these are like unique voices who have been in our community, and now they're going in and making.
I mean, you look at Erica Schultz, who started in indie comics. She's now she's the first female to write Spawn with Rat City. She's wrote for Marvel, Daredevil, and there's a few other titles I can name, but she started in indie comics, and she's the first female to write Spawn.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Wild. It's so cool to see. And I always like to push that narrative. Like, it's not just dudes out here writing comic books. There's a lot of really talented females, women, whatever they, them. I don't want to, come off as being like, rude or anything, but there's a lot of people out there from different walks of life. Writing and drawing and creating some of the best comic books in the world right now.
Yeah, definitely. There's Stephanie Phillips just released her own Daredevil series, and Gail Simone, and some really fantastic.
Such an illustrious career for Gail. Like,
I know,
what a champ! Like, I love her to death. She is phenomenal. Like, literally, just she bursts onto the scene and just keeps on going. She's fucking just still trucking. Love to see her.
There's an Australian artist.
She loves to talk to
sorry.
people too. Like she's very
Oh, yeah.
personable on social media as well.
She gave a shout out to Acorn Comics yesterday. I saw that.
I know. I seen that. That's what I was talking about. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
But you were talking about an Australian artist.
Oh, Nicola Scott. Nicola Scott has some. I don't know if you know her. She's a cover artist, and she's done
Okay.
so many beautiful variant covers for DC. Like
Oh,
she's
nice.
amazing. Yeah, yeah.
I've probably seen it and just never put a lot of brain cells into it because I don't read a whole lot of DC. Like it's very few. I don't read a whole lot of DC or Marvel. I will read like Vertigo. Like they just released Swamp Thing 89. So I had to
Yeah.
get Swamp Thing because I'm a huge fan of Swamp Thing. And when they had their Vertigo line is out right now. Their Vertigo line is like cooking over at DC, and they're producing a lot of really great titles over there right now. So I will read that. I will read the Black Label stuff with the Black Label Batman and stuff like that because it's darker, it's grittier. I don't want cookie cutter. I've never been a cookie cutter guy. If somebody gets stabbed by Wolverine's claws, I want to know they got stabbed by Wolverine's claws. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so how do creator subscriptions work on the Comix.one app or on Comix.one?
It's not out yet, the creator subscriptions. That's one of the things that we are releasing later in the year, along with like a lot of this amazing stuff, live streaming and live selling and stuff like that. But we're looking at two things. So they can have subscription tiers, just like Patreon, or one-off, stuff like script consultations for writers if they want to do like, their you want like 30 minutes talking about your characters or how to structure your comic book or things like that.
That's really cool. Maybe I should start doing that for Kickstarter campaigns. Like you want me to critique your Kickstarter campaign? No, I got you. Like before it goes live, let me have a look at it. I'll tell you if it sucks or not.
Exactly. I mean, PR professionals are like you, and marketers and PR professionals are a huge part of it, right? Like people just want to sell, I can create your press kit, and that's it's such an underrated thing. Like,
I still need to write one of those myself. I have one. I don't know. I created one. I don't know what I'm ever going to use it for. And it's like when I created my my marketing campaigns, right, for to have advertisements on the USDN. Like it was like a month of research, like a solid freaking month of research to finally like put together a professional package of different tiers of marketing available for the podcast. And holy hell, that was like waking up early, hopping on, doing the research, seeing how other people are doing it and going, I don't like the way they do it. And like not reinventing the wheel, but taking the wheel that's already there and making it look prettier and what I need. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was literally months of research.
Yeah.
And then try to find fair prices that you think are reasonable for what you do.
Yeah.
And that was the other hard part.
No, I and that's all part of like you running the business and trying to grow it, right? So,
it's hard, man, because it's indie comics we're talking about, and like I said, until we can get what we do in front of the mainstream eyes, we're going to be at that disadvantage. And again, that's another one of those things where I spend countless hours researching how can I do this better to bring it to more people. And that is extremely difficult and something that I'm still struggling with myself to figure out. But the moment it's figured out, by damn, we're going to the stars.
Yeah. There's echoes of this sentiment I've seen over the years in indie comics community that it's either friends or family or the creators funding themselves or like funding each other. Like
right now. And I'm trying to get us to that next level. That's one of my ultimate goals. That like if you go look at my 2026 goals, when every year, right, you sit down either at the end of the year or at the beginning of the new year, and you write your goals. You figure out what it is that you want to do and how you want to get there. And that was one of my goals. It was to, how far can I get indie comics into front of new eyes, right? Into front of the mainstream. And I don't know how I'm going to get there yet, but my goal is ultimately, whether it's myself, a group of us, what have you, but just to get it there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've had this discussion with other fellow creators and like other partners as well. I was talking to Chris from Inkbridge as well, and it's a huge crossover. At least when I go to cons and talk to people as well, there's a huge crossover from people who want to read comic books, but they read prose right now. They want to read comic books, but they're so intimidated by the history of characters. They're like, oh, Superman has like an 80 or 100-year-old history. Where do I even start?
And people are purists, right? They want to start from the beginning and read to the now.
And
but
I tell them, like,
you just dive into indie, right?
Exactly. You start
like, there's very few indie comic books that have a 80-year history, if any at all. Exactly. So you can literally get in on the ground floor of indie comics and just ride that
any day of the week.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing, right? That's why I love indie comics so much. I don't have to go and back to 1932 to the first issue of Superman to enjoy it. Because I'm one of those type of people. I want to be in on the bottom of it. When I got back into comics, like one of the first comic books I discovered was Something is Killing the Children. Fell in love with the book, fell in love with the story. But I was already at like issue 5 or 6. So I had to literally go back and try to track down those other issues. And I was able to do it, but it wasn't easy because I was like, if I want first prints, but first prints at the time were like ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I was able to do it, and I've got them all now. So, but again, not easy, not necessarily a cheap thing to do.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
But so with these subscription services, like I could really, if this goes off as planned, this could remove the comic book creators from Patreon and bring them to your platform where there's already a sustainable ecosystem in place for them. And it's also going to continue, like they're not having to do anything different. You can still charge your Patreon prices on Comix.one with your subscriptions, right? And ultimately, at the end of the day, it's a big key to a long-term creator stability all in one place.
Yep. That's the idea. We want the creators and their work to have longevity. We want it to, like be created as a legacy, of them rather than something they just do it on a whim or for like those 30 days of crowdfunding campaign. It should not live and die within that period. It should live way longer, find new readership, new fans, and all of the above.
And ultimately, at the end of the day, the creators aren't just relying on a new crowdfunding launch. This would help them build that reoccurring income to keep making their books, not necessarily to make a living, but that's not outside of the realm of possibility, but it is at least able to allow them to continue to make their content or their comic book.
Yeah, exactly. We talked about this earlier as well, right? Where like we were talking about creator paying artists up front and being able to do that. And if your previous book pays for it, what's better than your creative work paying for your next creative work? That's
exactly your Comix.one Patreon page just funded your next one because you do a really good job on your Patreon page on Comix.one.
Yeah,
Like ultimately at the
exactly.
end of the day, that's what we're all looking to do, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
dude, this man, I'm in love. The
Thank
whole
you so
platform
much.
is just so amazing. But so let's focus a little bit, and we're getting to the end, but let's focus on the economy of this. So we've talked about building a comics economy. What do you think that means with Comix.one?
That means uh, every stakeholder that we're talking about, like the comic book creators, the everyone who's involved in comic books, the comic book shops and people from like distribution companies and printers, all of them get a piece of the pie. We all live and thrive together.
Mhm.
And I you did touch on that sense that comic book shops don't love crowdfunded books for a certain reason. They think that they're creating an alternate distribution channel to a comic book
Yeah.
shop. But
And that's one of the reasons. I still think the biggest reason is return on investment when it comes to that.
correct. So like we want to solve all these problems, and like we want everybody in this ecosystem to thrive, because we grew up with these things. Like your memory of a comic book, discovering comic books, is going to a comic book shop and being recommended by the staff there who love comics and who love this medium.
Mhm.
uh, and a lot of creators come from that school of thought. Like they have discovered comic books in those places, and they just they just love that medium. And
Yeah.
anybody who's associated with that medium should thrive. And that's what the comic book economy is about. That's what we want
Mhm.
to that's what our end goal is. Like everybody involved here should have a thriving career, should love doing this, should also make money off of it, and to make it
Yeah.
sustainable for themselves, and for the lack of better term, for the love of comic books. you know
That's the biggest thing right there, right? And so my recent interview with Tom Rash, we were discussing this, and he said the future of comic books may not be what we think it is, or at least the delivery system of what we think comic books future looks like may be changing, whether it's digital or print on demand. And this is coming from a guy who had done work at Marvel, and that's literally what he said that the future could be, is like it's going to evolve, but it's going to be like the way the the book is delivered, right? And I think you're already ahead of that. By you really are, and I think when he said that, one of the first things that came to my mind was Comix.one. Like this is already happening right now, which is
yeah,
kind of cool
yeah,
to think about. When I was talking about the future with him, and here I am right now talking to the future, right? Which, how cool is that? Like, how often can you get to do that where you're having a conversation like that, and then
yeah,
the very next week you're literally talking to the person ushering in the future of what indie comics can be.
yeah. Definitely. It like I don't know what I think. There's a lot of different things happening in the industry. Distillery and all the other folks are doing something cool. Neon Ichiban is doing that remarks thing, which
Yeah,
I have various thoughts on. And like there's a lot of new tech and stuff being built around it, which is all very exciting, and I'm really happy about. Like the more the
yeah,
merrier
and that
stuff
thing's
that's
been.
happening.
I kind of feel like it's being pushed down my throat a little bit every time I see it, and I'm like, I'm personally not that big of a fan of it. It's just something about it to me that I'm like,
I
maybe
know.
it's the people I've seen pushing it.
There's a lot of sense that it's very close to NFTs, and it probably is.
Yeah, and I got a relationship with the guys over at VV, who's just across the pond from you in New Zealand, and also in Singapore is where the one of the CEOs lives in New Zealand, and the other one lives in Singapore. great dudes. I really like what they're doing. And their platform for digital comics is separate from their NFT. Although you can get covers of the comic books as an NFT, which is really cool. And they've built a lot of relationships with like Dynamite and Boom and Marvel and DC to where you can literally have a room on the app of your favorite comic books from them, from the past or from the future, present. It's kind of a cool concept, and I do like what VV is doing. I just and that's because I've spoke to the CEO of VV, great dude, big Star Wars fan like me, and but I do like what they're doing over there. And their digital comic book app is very much like, it feels like a Comixology a little bit. But
yeah.
And my biggest gripe with Neon Ichiban is, like I said, the people who are pushing that platform, I don't feel are in it for the platform. They're in it for their own clout. Is how it feels to me. Like when I see the people pushing this thing, and I'm like, no, I'm not feeling this, because
you're
using yourself to sell this to me, and I'm just not. I don't care. At the end of the day, like, this does nothing for me because it's not indie.
Also, yeah, I think the scarcity that they're trying to create for them, and like even in print, like scarcity is strange. I don't like fake scarcity. Like digital, you literally cannot create scarcity in digital. Like
and they're literally talking about creating stuff that's strictly for their platform. Which it's at the end of the day, that's on them, right? That's their goal. I just don't see how this thing is sustainable at the end of the day.
No. And Bad Idea had like this.
I love a Bad Idea, by the way.
Yeah, but you can't do that you can do that in physical books.
Yes,
you just print limited number of them.
Yeah.
You can't do that in print.
But they're also a small print company. That's their bread and butter, is small print. And to be fair, Bad Idea is producing some amazing books right now. Like, they have some really great comics coming out.
Yeah.
Like, I've been consuming the hell out of their stuff, actually. Like, that's how good it's been.
Yeah.
But I didn't mean to rant on Neon Ichiban. I'm sure what they're doing is fantastic for some. It just isn't, at the end of the day, my cup of coffee.
That's perfect. Like, the reason why I'm trying to say I brought that up even was like there's a lot of different things being tried out in the industry, and the future will look very different from what it is today. We're just trying on our little piece of the internet that's Comix.one. We're just trying to create like a kitchen sink where everything comes together for the creator.
Big old stew. Big old stew of things.
Yeah, and all of us are in it together, like the whole indie industry.
Oh, no, 100%. And you're not just building a platform. At the end of the day, you're building in an economy for indie creators to thrive in. And, everybody is kind of, if you've got your hand in indie comics, you're kind of getting a slice of that pie too, which is really cool. So, but I think we got one more segment, man. I didn't think we were going to go this long, but it's been such a freaking amazing conversation to be having with you and to bring this platform to the masses. Is the current comic distribution model broken, you think?
That's a very good question. Depends on what part of comic book you're talking about. I think mainstream has figured itself out.
Yeah, we knew that was going to fix itself. It was just going to be getting through that rough patch for 6 months, right?
Yeah, the fall of Diamond has been like a downward spiral for most of the
Yeah.
small press indie publishers
Yeah.
who were
I mean,
trying to
you
distribute
have
them.
Coffin left. Like Coffin started their own platform. Um, Zenscope went to Kickstarter, which I was sad
Yeah,
to see them go because I'm a big fan of their twisted tales and stuff. And
yep,
it kind of sucked to see them go, but I understood because they were
yeah,
almost killed by Penguin.
yep. There's also like, like the new things have come up, like Filbo, like you mentioned earlier. Filbo
Yeah.
has come up as a distribution one for
They've been
indies.
around for a little bit though, and they're starting to really pick up steam, I think.
Yeah, there's massive indies that has come up post that. So there's definitely a lot of like there's a bunch of others that we keep hearing. There's mainstream prose book publishers distributors that have started venturing into comic books.
Yeah,
um
Titan.
Titans.one. There's one more that I think it's literally called indie book IDP, indie book publisher.
Okay, I haven't heard of them yet, but I do know Titan because they do Gun Honey and a few other titles.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because
Yeah.
one of our fellow publishers who are on the platform also distribute with them. So they're like
So you're
there's
not
a lot
just
of
limited. You're not limiting people to just like, oh, if you're with us, you're with us. You're allowing them to have other
yeah.
avenues as well, which I think is really cool because a lot of people try to lock it down, and you're not trying to do that. You're still leaving it open for people to do what they need to do to get their books out to people.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We don't want to lock it in for anybody because at the end of the day, it's creators, it's their baby. We don't really want
Yeah, no,
to,
100%.
uh,
Yeah,
you know, yeah. We want to facilitate. We don't want to, we want them to have more avenues, not less.
no, 100%, and that's why what I do is really fun. It's another one of those avenues. So,
Yeah,
but why do you
exactly.
think platforms like yours haven't existed before now? Do you just think the technology wasn't there to support it yet, or what do you think? I mean, we
No,
minus Comixology, but I'm not really counting them because they kind of sank.
no, I think the technology has been there. Like, I mean, Comixology and a whole bunch of there were a whole bunch of other platforms that have come and gone. I think the technology is there. I think it's the intent that's one, and like
Yeah,
there's also like this whole the industry side of things where venture capital comes in. These platforms are good for building, like build they can sustain themselves, but they're
yeah,
not really good candidates for being acquired. So like Comixology got acquired by Amazon, but Amazon could not keep up at the same pace because we know comic book fandom is a niche thing. It's not
yeah,
a mass market thing. You books can be read by anybody from like the like prose books can be read by anybody from age 1 month to like you can read it, buy it for your 1 month old baby to like to a 170, 80
yeah.
year old person, like anybody can read it. It's a
No,
mass
that's cool
market
though,
thing.
because that was literally my next question: is what do you think Comixology got wrong? And
Yeah,
selling out was what they got wrong.
there are like 10 other platforms that have spoken about, like Joey Esposito was talking about some other platform that came up. I forgot the name. There's a whole bunch of them that came up in the early 2000s, and they were trying to do the similar thing, but they all went away because, and the creators feel the pain because they're the ones who invested a lot of time and energy and love
Yeah,
in those platforms. And when those go away, um, yeah, they're the ones losing. Everyone's like the fans lose that, and you lose access to those books, and that's why people are jaded with digital a little bit. So we that's why even if you look at on the platform today, when you purchase a book, there's always a download button. You can always read on the platform, but there's always a download button. You can always back it up. You will
Dude,
never
that's so
lose
cool.
it.
Yeah, that's amazing. All you need is a big enough hard drive, right?
Yeah.
So at this point, we are entering a new era for indie comics, which is really cool to be at this kind of crossroads per se of for indie comics. We're no longer confined to Kickstarter or Indiegogo or Zoop. We are taking that next step forward, right? And again, we don't need permission to do what we do anymore. We're not seeking a publisher. We're doing it all ourselves at this point. And such a cool thing to do. But we're there, man. So where can creators and people who enjoy indie comics sign up for Comix.one?
So at the moment, we've kept it concierge based, but I can shout out the link where creators can come and onboard directly. So it's Comix.one/signup/creator, and I can paste it for you in the chat.
Yeah, I'll have the link in the description. Actually, the link is in the description for Comix.one, and they can just follow it in there.
Yeah, or if you just sign up and email me, I'll convert it into a creator account for you. So for creators, that's the case.
Mhm.
If you're a reader, you can just either download the iPhone app or just sign up on the website. There's a whole bunch of free comics you can get for free
Yeah.
and read, and yeah. And
there's a little something on there for everybody. I mean, you're at 3,500 titles now.
Yeah, and growing. We've had new
and growing
every
daily.
single day. So
yeah, like I said, Acorn is on there now. So
yeah,
there you go. That was just me naming one. There's plenty others.
Yeah, there's so many lovely comic book creators on there. Come and
such a cool
support
thing.
them.
So I love it, dude. I'm going to get you done here soon, man. We're almost there. So what should creators do today if they're watching this, you think? Or listening later?
Oh, sorry. Can you come again? Sorry.
What should creators do today if they're watching this?
Well, this is regardless of being you're being on Comix.one or not. You should get yourself a press kit, get better at marketing, and don't stop shilling your book. Always do that. Always do
and don't be afraid of coming on shows like this one. Yeah. I literally make this the most relaxed place you could ever be. Like, I'm just a dude who loves comic books, man. And
it's been such good 2 hours, like just sitting here talking to you.
And we could probably go another 2, but I know you got to get the free comic book day here very soon. But where can they follow you and Comix.one, man? We're wrapping it up.
I'm a ghost on social media, but Comix.one is not. So you can find it's usually me running Comix.one handle. So you can find me or Comix.one at comics_app almost everywhere. On Blue Sky it's Comix.one. On TikTok it's Comix.one, but it's comics_app everywhere else. So find us, follow us. We post a lot of very cool creator features where you can actually learn about behind the scenes of comic books and creators themselves. So, yeah.
I love it, dude. And all those links, I think, are down in the description below of this. And it'll also have more of the links when this goes live on YouTube and on podcasts and platforms later. But if indie comics are built on passion, then the next evolution will be built on infrastructure. Tonight's conversation wasn't just about a platform. It was about possibility in a system where creators don't just launch, they sustain, where stories don't disappear. They continue to live, grow, and reach new audiences. And maybe, just maybe, the future of indie comics isn't waiting to be discovered. It's already here. But make sure you like, follow, and share, because this has been the USDN Podcast, where indie comics come to life. And as always, I'm the chairman. That's Saurabh. And ladies and gentlemen, the Council of Nerds is adjourned. Y'all be safe. Happy weekend.
Thank you so much. Have a good weekend, everybody.
It's a trap!
I appreciate